evening. Let me begin by sharing with you my story of how I became popular in high school. At the age of 16, I left home Vietnam to travel abroad for the first time to study at an international boarding school known as the United World College, or UWC in Norway. The school, which consists of people coming from more than 90 countries around the world, embodies the mission of making education a force to unite people and cultures. Living in such a diverse community, I could have been known as one of the more peaceful or culturally sensitive persons. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those. In fact, I was well known among the students as the funny, cursing maniac. I remember vividly the first night I arrived at UWC. As a school bus approached our campus, right beside a beautiful fjord hidden in a Norwegian mountainous landscape, I heard loud voices of people shouting my name. I recognized them immediately as my new roommates. Overwhelmed with excitement, I spoke non-stop with them about my feeling and my happiness of being at a place like UWC, and I asked them a lot of questions. What's your name? Where are you from? But their responses were, pardon, what was it that you were saying? Excuse me, could you repeat what you just said? Seeing their confused faces, I realized the problem was with my broken English. The first few days at UWC were a struggle for me to express myself. Some of the new faces that I met simply nodded or smiled at about everything I said, even when I asked them where the bathroom was. Others didn't seem to be patient enough to let me articulate my thoughts or to complete my arguments. While the former problem could be solved by going to English classes, the latter, the need to express myself passionately, required a rather burning solution. Fortunately, I found a shortcut that a lot of people at UWC also use to express themselves passionately and quickly. This shortcut involved the excessive use of the following 3 powerful words and their derivatives: duck, ship, and bish. Let me give you an example of how these powerful words could smoothen my sentences. On one occasion, when I have to argue with a friend for my favorite movie, I could just say, "Bish, what the duck? How couldn't you enjoy such a awesome ducking movie, you piece of little ship?" I'm sure that many of you here are unfamiliar with this kind of sentences, given what we've seen on movies nowadays. For instance, take The Wolf of Wall Street. The 2014 Oscar nominees for Best Picture contain 569 F words throughout. Or any classic Quentin Tarantino movies. I'm sure that you wouldn't be surprised by the amount of profanity in his movie, given this quote from him. I was kind of excited about going to jail the first time, and I learned some great dialogue. I'm sure he learned some great dialogue. Bish. As a matter of fact, cursing has become a general trend nowadays. A recent study has shown that about 0.7% of what we're saying is swearing words, which doesn't seem too much until we know that we use about the same amount for pronouns like I, we, our, etc. People curse, but they also curse for good reason. Other studies have demonstrated that cursing helps people reduce pain, and more importantly, to bond, because it makes them look more credible. Bonding was the reason why I cursed back in Vietnam. The bond is established from 2 sides. From my side, when I cursed around my friends, I felt a great sense of intimacy around them, because they provided me with a safe space that I could break free from the culture frowning upon swearing. At the same time, when my friends curse, by breaking the same cultural norms, they signal to me that they are okay with my imperfections. So overall, everything seemed pretty much the same in Norway and in Vietnam. I still study hard, eat the same kind of noodles, and curse pretty much the same way, just in different languages. But I guess I just cursed a little too ruthlessly in English. Of course, not everybody at UWC enjoy my cursing. Some people were actually quite annoyed at the amount of cursing that I had used. But a few others found my habit rather amusing. They laughed when I cursed, and this response made me feel connected to these people, but also inspired me to continue doing so. And soon, I became the funny cursing maniac. Cursing started off as a way for me to express myself more conveniently, but it accidentally brought me pride and fame. How convenient. Kill two birds with one stone. Profanity not only provided me with a sense of identity, but also empowered me to create a new sense of identity and to dream beyond the boundaries. So, I also make use of the diversity at UWC to expand my cursing abilities. As a common way to bond with new people, some of my friends and I used to ask one another how to swear in the other language. Hearing a foreigner swears in your language seems amusing, doesn't it? You laugh and you bond. Once I taught a Norwegian friend how to curse in Vietnamese. At first, I laughed so hard at her funny pronunciation, and I was so excited about hearing her repeating it again and again. But no party lasts forever. Once my Norwegian friend mastered how to curse in Vietnamese, I didn't find much amusement anymore, but rather irritation. In fact, I got so upset that I had to ask her to stop swearing in Vietnamese and instead saying a proper hello to me. At that moment, I realized the problem with my cursing throughout my time at UWC. I realized that cursing violates cultural norms. I mean, there isn't much profundity in this realization. Back in Vietnam, my parents used to tell me not to curse because cursing often offends others, and more importantly, it is associated with the uneducated or criminals. This association between cursing and inappropriate cultural scenarios make cursing no longer just another way of expression, but possibly a deliberate act of offense. Cursing was no longer just a toy that I could throw around to gain attention, but rather a double-edged knife that should be handled with care. Cursing was easy for me in English because it wasn't my knife. It was merely a toy that I could play with. I didn't see the association between cultural norms and profanity in a new language, while I could see this link in Vietnamese given my background. The beginning of my journey at UWC involved me learning a new language. But language is a manifestation of culture, and thus while learning a new language, you also learn the culture underneath it. At international environment like UWC or NYU Abu Dhabi, diversity is part of the cultural norms. Diversity means different types of people, including those cursing maniacs like me, and those who feel disinclined to cursing. We come together and aim to live in harmony. This beautiful goal requires a little bit of work from everybody. On the one hand, I, a representative of those cursing maniacs, should have been more mindful of the culture underneath a foreign language. So to those like me, enjoy cursing, but use this wisely. On the other hand, while I understand that accepting profanity as another way of expression is difficult, to reject profanity entirely shuts down the door of communication and might lead to a missed opportunity in forming deeper connection between us. I once wished that people who didn't like my cursing at UWC had been a little more curious. I wished they had truly known what I wanted to communicate, my excitement to share with them. I wish that they had just asked me another question. So to those who might feel a little upset when hearing somebody like me cursing around, I have 2 recommendations for you. 1, simply stop me and ask, Nghiem, I'm not too feeling comfortable with your swearing, but I understand that you have something to share. So what is it exactly? Or, even better, if cursing once or twice doesn't worsen you in any way, try this. Bis, what the duck are you saying? Could you tell me exactly what you're feeling instead of cursing like a little sheep? I would be more than happy to sit and share with you. Thank you.